revealed what Queen Elizabeth II told Prince Philip after U.S. President humiliated her. Queen Elizabeth II was publicly humiliated by former U.S. President George H.W. Bush in 1991 during a welcome speech at the White House. Newly resurfaced footage reveals how the monarch later commented on the unhappy incident with her husband, Prince Philip. Queen Elizabeth II is not only the longest-reigning monarch in the world, but she is also one of the most well-traveled. Her Majesty has undertaken a number of state and official visits as well as trips throughout the Commonwealth since ascending the throne in 1952. It was during one of these visits that the monarch was involved in an unhappy and awkward incident. In May 1991, the Queen, accompanied by her husband the Duke of Edinburgh, arrived at the White House for a welcome ceremony. The 41st President of the U.S., the late George H.W. Bush, took to the podium first for a speech, introducing Her Majesty. However, something went wrong as he left the stand as he had found it, meaning that when the Queen stepped up to talk, the microphone was so high that her face was hidden. Nothing but Her Majesty's purple and white hat could be seen above the microphones when she delivered her speech. The gaffe made headlines around the world and created a comical effect. The Washington Post headlined it, "Britain's Head of State." Despite the embarrassment, the Queen did not seem to mind. In 1992 BBC documentary Elizabeth R. newly resurfaced footage shows Her Majesty discussing incident with her husband, Prince Philip, and her press secretaries. The monarch tells them, "Not something that I would ever actually think of beforehand. He, President Bush, is huge really. He is really tall." The Queen also decided to make light of it a few days later. As she began an address to a joint meeting of Congress, the Queen said, "I do hope you can see me today from where you are." The comment drew laughter and applause from the lawmakers. President Bush expressed regret about the incident, saying it was not fair to her. Asked why he did not pull out the lectern step for the Queen, Mr. Bush said, "I feel badly I didn't. I thought about it, but she started to speak and I didn't realize how it would look from a straight angle, or I would have interrupted her. It wasn't fair to her and I'm just sorry that it was overlooked." The former U.S. president blamed his chief of protocol as the culprit. He said sharply, "That's what we hired Joseph Reed for." Joseph Werner Reed was the man in charge of arranging the entrances and exits for all the foreign VIPs who visited the White House. Mr. Bush is not the only U.S. president who made a faux pas in the presence of Her Majesty, though. Last summer, Donald Trump pushed the boundaries of royal protocol in front of Her Majesty on more than one occasion. In particular, according to a royal historian, there is one thing that Mr. Trump did in front of the monarch that was equivalent to a mortal insult. The U.S. president turned his back on the Queen and then walked in front of her while inspecting the guard at Windsor Castle, actions that are all considered to be major faux pas when it comes to royal etiquette. Historian Ian Beck wrote on Twitter, "Trump has also turned his back on the Queen. I have always believed this to be a mortal insult to a monarch." Prince Philip once wrote a touching letter to the Queen Mother after he wed her eldest daughter, Queen Elizabeth II. In the book My Husband and I, The Inside Story of 70 Years of the Royal Marriage, author Ingrid Seward said that the Duke of Edinburgh's loving note became the blueprint of his life and marriage with Her Majesty. "Lilibet is the only thing in this world which is absolutely real to me, and my ambition is to wield the two of us into a new combined existence," wrote the 26-year-old Prince Philip to his mother-in-law 2 weeks after his marriage on November 20, 1947, Seward revealed. The Queen and Prince Philip have been married for over 7 decades. And even though things seemed peaceful between them in the beginning, the two royals reportedly also had some bitter clashes. Royal expert Christopher Wilson told Daily Mail that the Queen Mother didn't like Germans and Prince Philip is one. But other than this, Prince Philip also had different opinions about some of the things that the royals have been doing for years. For instance, the dad of 4 questioned why the members of the royal family have to ask footmen to send their messages to each other when they can just talk to each other in person. He felt that not asking the footmen to do this kind of task could also lessen the expenses of the royals. Prince Philip wasn't also pleased with the fact that the Queen Mother still saw herself as the Queen even after her daughter was crowned. She wasn't pleased when she was asked to move to Clarence House because it's not as big as the Buckingham Palace. Sarah Bradford said that it was upsetting for the Queen Mother to see the power going to her daughter. And it was Prince Philip who bore the brunt of her disappointment. During the Queen's coronation, the Queen Mother and Prince Philip even disagreed on who should take the official photographs. Revealed, the touching words Prince Philip penned to the Queen's mother after his marriage. The Queen and Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, have now been married for 72 years, and a royal expert has revealed the touching words the Duke wrote about his wife when he married her. Her Majesty married Philip in 1947, whereupon the Duke renounced his Greek and Danish titles 5 years before her reign began. Soon after her marriage to Philip, royal expert, Ingrid Seward has revealed the touching words the Duke wrote about his new wife. Writing in her book, My Husband and I, The Inside Story of 70 Years of the Royal Marriage, Seward has revealed that Lilibet, as he termed her, was his one true love. Referencing Philip's words, Seward wrote, Lilibet is the only thing in this world which is absolutely real to me, and my ambition is to wield the two of us into a new combined existence. Wrote the 26-year-old Prince Philip to his mother-in-law 2 weeks after his marriage on November 20, 1947. It was to be the blueprint for their life together, and, such was the depth of his passion at the time, he went to expand on his theme. Now welcoming the latest member to the royal family, Philip and the Queen have foreseen generations of royal be born during their over 70-year-long marriage. However, marrying at such a young age required Philip to end a promising career in the Navy. Now, the Duke retired from royal duties in 2017 at the age of 96 after decades in service. Following that decision, the Duke decided to relocate to Wood Farm Cottage located on the Sandringham estate. However, writing at the time of his marriage, Philip once again professed his love for his wife despite the two now living apart. He wrote, Cherish Lilibet? I wonder if that word is enough to express what is in me. Does one cherish one's sense of humor or one's musical ear or one's eyes? I am not sure, but I know that I thank God for them, and so, very humbly, I thank God for Lilibet and for us. Despite retiring from royal duties, Philip did join his wife during for Lady Gabriella Windsor's wedding in May, which was his most recent appearance. Queen Elizabeth had an unhappy encounter with President George H.W. Bush when she visited him in the White House in 1991. Following the incident, Her Majesty was heard telling Prince Philip what transpired. While at the White House, the 41st President of the United States took to the podium first for a speech, and he also introduced the monarch. A stand was placed behind the podium that Bush forgot to remove. When the Queen got to the podium to give her speech, it was evident that the microphone was so high and her face ended up being hidden. It was only her hat that could be seen while she was talking to the crowd. Following the outing, the gaffe made headlines around the world. The Washington Post, for instance, headlined the Queen's visit as Britain's head of state instead of writing Britain's head of state. Top articles. 1.5. Read more. Infographic, Economic Impact of Climate Change by 2048. Luckily, Her Majesty didn't seem to mind the unintentional public humiliation. But in the 1992 documentary Elizabeth R., the Queen's reaction to the incident was revealed while she was talking to the Duke of Edinburgh. Not something that I would ever actually think of beforehand. He is huge, really, he is really tall, she said. And a few days following her trip to the White House, the Queen also made a mockery of herself. While speaking in front of the Congress in a joint meeting, she said that she hopes everyone can see her from where they are. Meanwhile, Bush also shared his thoughts about the incident and admitted that he felt for the Queen. He also realized that he forgot to remove the podium and wanted to take it out, but Her Majesty had already started talking. I thought about it, but she started to speak and I didn't realize how it would look from a straight angle, or I would have interrupted her. It wasn't fair to her and I'm just sorry that it was overlooked, he said.